Notes of Truth with Julie Carrick, here on Morning Joy, where truth matters. Today is Friday, October 18th in the year of our Lord 2024, and here on Morning Joy, we love to talk about sacred art, sacred music, and things that point us to Christ and to his mother, Mary. And so that's, of course, why we welcome into the program Julie Carrick with Notes of Truth. Julie, good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Good morning, Wyatt. What a joy to be with you today. You know, I love the way the Holy Spirit continues to coordinate the program every day, every moment of our life, actually. And, you know, when we think of places like Garabandal or where Mary has had these amazing apparitions, you know, we're still learning so much about that. But when I think of places around the world like Lourdes and Fatima and just the amazing connection that our Blessed Mother has with her children here on earth. And one of my favorite interactions with our Blessed Mother was when our daughter, Adel, she was 9 years old, and our daughter had a miraculous healing at Lourdes. And it was one of those, just a gift that we can never say thank you enough for. She was 9 years old, and the interesting part of her journey with our Blessed Mother was that she was invited because she was a diabetic, and the priest in our parish up in Flagstaff at that time, Father Michael Bain, wanted to send our daughter with the Knights of Malta. They had asked for a number of people to go on this pilgrimage, and we said, well, Father, she only has diabetes. Maybe there's somebody who has a bigger health issue that should go in her place. And he said, no, I really feel for whatever reason that she is the one that's supposed to go. So she went on this beautiful pilgrimage. It was lovely. She actually went with my mom because I was expecting our son, Paul, at that time, and I could not travel. So my mom went in my place, and they had this beautiful experience. They came back home, and our daughter was still very clearly a diabetic. And she said, well, Mom, I don't care what anybody says. I know that I was healed. And I was like, okay. So as we continued to test blood sugars and give her injections every day to keep the blood sugars leveled. Now, fast forward a few years, and we had moved from Flagstaff down here to Scottsdale, and she was trying out for a team at school for volleyball. And during the tryouts and that working couple of weeks where they had a really intense preparation for the volleyball team, she was complaining about pain in her legs. And as part of her sports physical, they did some x-rays of her legs. And then the doctor ordered an MRI. They did the MRI. And then the doctor called us into his office and said, normally when I've got a minor a patient, I expect the parents to give us the full medical history. And we said, well, she's diabetic. She's been diabetic since she was 2. And he asked, well, when was her last treatment for the bone cancer? And my husband and I, our jaws like hit the floor. And we were like, what do you mean bone cancer? And he put the slides up on the screen, and he said, well, these are the post-treated encapsulated tumors that have been healed. And we were shocked. We had no idea that this child had even had anything. And yet it was definite that it had been post-treated encapsulated tumors. And my husband and I both we were in awe. We were in gratitude. We were in just amazement that we had no idea why this beautiful priest had this, indication for our daughter to go. And here she had this healing. I mean, I already loved Mary, but after that, it was like this affinity from my heart for her just was like cemented. And throughout my entire life, our Blessed Mother, and I refer to her as Mama, I really do. She's like Mama, she's very personal with us. She's very much a part of our journey, and it's never to draw attention to herself. Her constant presence in our world, if people will open their eyes and just be with her, they would realize that Mama Mary is doing everything she can as a good mother to draw us to her son. She never leaves it at herself. She's like this portal that you walk through to get closer to Christ. She never keeps us just by herself. And one other story, and I may have to go a bit lengthier on this in our after show today, but the other amazing moment in our life was my husband and I back in 2004. I mean, this is 20 years ago. We were in a very difficult place. We'd suffered a number of things that year, and our marriage was really in severe trouble. We were seriously on the verge of divorce, but it was our Blessed Mother who again stepped into that gap. And through an amazing community in Schio, Italy, where, and these are still being, looked at there as well by the church, but there's a community in Schio of Marian Benedictine community members that were praying for my husband and I for a number of months. And I mean a number of months. They've been praying for us because they didn't know why. They just knew that they had to pray for this couple from the United States. And then I was reached out to by a gentleman the following January of 2005. And he said, we would like you to come and sing for a concert, The World Sings of Mary. Would you be willing to come? And at that point, I could say yes, because just the day before, my husband had an interaction with our Blessed Mother. And it was just absolutely miraculous, the way that she spoke to him, the way that she touched his heart, the way that as soon as he heard her voice, he had a 180-degree turnaround to the point that not only did he want to remain in the marriage, he literally became part of a ministry that from 2005 until now has reached out to couples and families all over the country and in many parts of the world, actually, to help people see the beauty of the sacraments. The sacrament of reconciliation, the sacrament of marriage, the need for a Eucharistic life, and all of this because this community had prayed for us. And so we were able to say yes. We were able to go to Schio together that April. I had the privilege of singing in this beautiful concert, just this massive arena of people who just love the Blessed Mother because they know her for who she is. They know her as a woman who gave a perfect yes, lived that perfect yes, and constantly, it is never drawing us to herself. As I said, it is always drawing us to her Son. And so the music that we've had for centuries about our Blessed Mother, one song in particular, the Ave Maria. I mean, many, many, many people love the Ave Maria, all the different renditions of it. And I was doing a conference one time, and it was an ecumenical women's conference. And the pastor who was hosting was a little bit nervous because I'm Catholic. And he said, I know you're going to be speaking in my church at this conference, but I would really appreciate it if you would not talk about two things. And I was like, and what is that, Pastor? And he said, one would be the Blessed Virgin Mary. But I love how he said her name, the Blessed Virgin Mary. Yeah. Not going to talk about her, and we're not going to talk about the Eucharist. And I kind of laughed, and I was like, well, I said, we have a lot to talk about otherwise, so don't worry, Pastor, we're fine. So just before the lunch break, I put it out that if anyone had a particular song that they would like me to sing after lunch, I would like to come back and sing a song. And it was interesting how many of the Protestant women who said, well, do you know how to sing the Ave Maria? And I said, I do. I'd love to sing the Ave Maria. And of course, because it was in Latin, the pastor didn't seem too shook up. And he's like, yeah, we can have you sing the Ave. And I was like, okay. So after lunch, I sang the Ave Maria. And then I asked the question, I said, now, how many of you know what this means in English? Not one hand went up. And I said, how many of you have had this for special occasions, like your wedding or, a family gathering for like a funeral or something like that? Not Catholic, but Protestant things, right? And many, many of the hands went up. They were like, oh, we love the Ave Maria. It's beautiful. It's so heart-touching. It just gives you this emotional, feeling of goodness. And I'm like, well, okay. And I can see why, because now I'd like to sing it for you in English. And I had written the song Mother of Grace, which is literally the Hail Mary, which is what the Ave Maria is. And so I began to sing, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And their eyes were just popped open. And the pastor in the back of the room, his jaw hit the floor. And it was, I said, if you go to Luke's gospel, you'll find out the beauty of where this prayer comes from. And you'll understand why the Blessed Mother uses something so simple as a song to touch your heart, to make that introduction to you, to say, you too are my daughter, you too are my son. And I will never hold you within my own heart, but I will always take you into the heart of my son. I mean, she holds us in her heart, but just long enough to connect us to the heart of her son. And so for me, over these, 30 years of traveling all over the world with music and the beauty of our Catholic faith, it would not be complete if we didn't share the stories of our connection with our Blessed Mother. It's a constant amazement to me when I hear the beauty of music that includes Mary. It touches the heart in such a different way than other music. I mean, we have praise, we have worship, we have the beauty that leads us to God, and it's magnificent, but it's huge and it's big and it's different. The music that we include with Mama Mary is heart touching, and it changes us. It lets us give a yes, live a yes, and embrace the yes, and try to emulate what she's invited us to do. So, yeah, really quick, Wyatt, do you have a favorite Mary song?
I was going to say, I just enjoy just making sure that I pray the Hail Mary on a regular basis. And I loved how you mentioned that is a biblical prayer. And today is the feast day of St. Luke the Evangelist. So I just love how you mentioned that because it's so appropriate. My own confirmation saint is St. Gabriel. So I'm always thinking about that special moment of the Annunciation. So incredible stories there, Julie. Incredible. Several stories of healing. I'm hoping that this segment will reach out and touch people to maybe even pray the Rosary. Again, October is the month for devotion for the Rosary. We're all out of time, but I want to thank Julie Carrick for all those stories. We're wrapping up the first hour of Morning Joy here where Truth Matters. We're going to take a break here, and we'll be back with more of this program. Thanks so much for joining us.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.